Hi, and thank you very much for tuning in to my presentation. I'm Tom Strong, President and CEO of CanBIM and Principal of Wired Construction. I've been asked to give a overview of innovation and technology and the use of BIM in Canada. Very honored to do this. I'm going to talk about several different projects that have happened in Canada recently and kind of give you an overview of some of the trends that are happening here. I have way too much content, so I'll try to squeeze it in. So who is CanBIM? CanBIM is Canada's building technology and innovation community. We've been around for about 11 years. We focus on basically all the technologies that touch our industry, right from the design, construction, supply chain, right through to the tail end and delivery of buildings. Our mission is to be the catalyst for digital transformation for the industry. So our organization is really where the innovators in Canada meet. And I think what makes us unique is that we're not discipline focused. We're more agnostic, and we have individuals from every part of the industry participating and collaborating. So it's a really robust and energetic community, and we're very proud of what we've created here, and we think it's very important. We have about 800 industry professionals that participate regularly. These individuals participate from all over Canada and represent pretty much all facets of our industry, as I mentioned. If you look at the 60 major firms alone that participate, they have about half a million people, employees. So we have about 500,000 technical members, I guess, in the organization, and that represents about $100 billion in GDP here in Canada in the construction industry. So that's about 1/3 of the total industry. The governance for the organization is member driven. The board of directors is elected from the membership. And we have other technical advisories. We have an international advisory group. If you're interested, reach out to me. I'd love to have innovators from all over the world participating in that. And then we have an executive advisory group from our membership. So in lock and step with our mission, we have a number of different initiatives. One is knowledge sharing and distribution. We have a very robust website that has an enormous amount of information on it, especially video information. So if you like tuning in to video presentations, I think we have like 1,000 recordings of presentations that we've done over the past 11 years that are available for you to check out. We publish a annual report on innovation in Canada that spotlights the really fantastic things that are happening in our industry. It's an extremely high quality document. We're very proud of it. We're expanding this initiative to produce research reports. So go to our website. You can download a digital copy of this. Our membership participates in a number of different ways, but the major way is through the industry think tanks. So we have a number of different think tanks that are set up around different subject matters, where innovators from different disciplines get together and kind of rethink the best practices and re-envision the future of that particular area of the industry. And this group helps to shape the direction of our organization, theme our events, and just generally we try to publish out as much as we can that comes out of those groups. We have a certification program that is really designed to streamline the best practices for individuals who work in their organizations, focused on integration of data, whether it be building information modeling or other data that needs to be exchanged related to projects. So we're trying to drive standardized nomenclature, best practices, and really create an environment where people all understand how to get their information to coalesce. So it's really focused on interoperability, and it's a real big success. And if you're interested in working in the Canadian market, I suggest that you go on our website and check out the certification program. We have a number of different initiatives that we run across Canada. Normally we do about 10 conferences a year. We've obviously moved to a digital environment, but we have our executive speaker series, our technical training sessions, which we've moved now online. And these events I would say are very successful. We had great attendance. The quality of the presentations are excellent, probably very similar to what's happening today. We have site tours that we do of complex projects or interesting projects that were recently completed. We have a technology expo that we put on lock and step with our events. And we have annual awards that recognize excellence in innovation across different categories in our industry. So all the previous award winners are on our website. So please go check that out. I'm gonna talk about some of the award winners later today. So I thought it would be useful for our international audience that is tuning in here to understand a bit of the Canadian context, so you can have a good perspective on Canada and our industry. So Canada is about 38 million people. There's 9 million square kilometers of space in Canada, so that's about 4 people per square kilometer. So it kind of sounds like a very lonely place. Well, it's not actually. 80% of the population is urban, and more and more people are moving to urban environments similar to other parts of the world. So, we have very low density based on our geography, and we are adding about 300,000 people to Canada every year through immigration. And Canada is a very multicultural place and a very welcoming place. And these new immigrants really drive our economic development in Canada, and we need more people. This map represents where about 50. The red on the map represents about where 50% of the population of Canada actually lives. So you can see that Canada is an enormous place with very low density. From a building perspective, building industry perspective, there's 6 major. There's actually more major markets than that, but the top 6 major markets are Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, Calgary, Ottawa, Gatineau, and Edmonton. So I'm going to feature some projects from these different areas in my presentation. But one of the challenges with Canada is just, if you're operating a business across all these markets, these cities are very far apart. They're actually on the other side of the continent, multiple time zones apart. So our infrastructure that connects our country together is significant and costly to maintain, and we have a very extreme weather where we have very hot summers and very cold winters. So from a GDP perspective, the U.S. For context is about $21 trillion. Canada compares a little bit better to say Australia or India at about $2 trillion. Our construction GDP or building industry is about $300 billion. And there's a very healthy pipeline with lots of projects coming forward. And our cities, especially the GTA, the Greater Toronto area, is very busy. We have about 1.2 million skilled workers in our labor force that are spread out all over Canada. And there seems to be a shortage of skilled workers in Canada, which creates some bottlenecks in delivering infrastructure. And it's just interesting, and I think this is probably a trend across the world. But there's if we look at these graphs that I extracted from the VentureBeat article, there's an enormous amount of startups that are being funded and new startups that are hitting the market focused on the construction, industrial, and mining sector. So we're seeing, as a country, and probably this is a global trend as well, there's just so many different software products that solve so many different problems that, construction companies and the building industry in general, the design community, they're struggling with, keeping on top of all the interesting technologies that help them to automate their work and increase productivity. So, understanding how to integrate your technology stack across your business is now becoming a kind of a specialized skill. And then some other context for Canada. We have all sorts of different contract types that occur here, but we used to be very lump sum generally, and that's evolved over time because the lump sum contract is very adversarial. I'd say we've transitioned more to construction management type contracts for private projects, and design build is being utilized for the major public infrastructure projects, and the P3 model, which is a modified design build where there's a consortium that's created that includes financial, the financing for the project and facilities management is formed, and they have a 30-year term. So not only are they competing on the design and the price of construction, but they're also competing on the efficiency of running that facility and the cost of borrowing to build the project and manage that finance over a 30-year term. So that's really driven a lot of collaboration in our market, I would say, and a lot of the major hospital projects and infrastructure projects have gone this direction. And integrated project delivery has become more and more prevalent and is growing, where a consortium is formed between the prime consultant, the builder, and the key trades, and there's a shared pain, shared gain scenario where that group has realigned incentives to work as a team. So definitely there's been a trend for the contract to become more and more collaborative here. So just real high level market trends in our industry. We're seeing, building science is very advanced here because of our extreme climate, and we're seeing more glue-lam and mass timber projects come along. We have a massive softwood forest industry here in Canada, and we have lots of manufacturing capability for, say, cross-laminated timber and glue-lam and these other prefabricated systems. So this structural typology is becoming more and more prevalent. We have a major shortage of housing, especially in the urban areas, and the industry is really working towards creating more affordable solutions. Prefabrication, modular, obviously technology helps create efficiencies. So we're really looking for ways to create more densification and bring down the cost of construction. Like everyone on planet Earth, sustainability is top of mind for our entire industry, and companies often compete on their sustainable policies and actions. And there's a number of programs that are in place to evaluate buildings, such as the LEED program, which is also in the U.S. There's an emphasis on resilient infrastructure, so it's durable, as our climate changes. We've all been impacted recently by COVID-19, and obviously we're thinking about infectious disease control, not only in hospital environments, but also as it relates to workplaces and actually how we manage safety on job sites. Disciplines have become more and more integrated. This is partially because of the contract types, but also partially because technology has enabled us to integrate our work together, and that's resulted in companies becoming more consolidated and multidisciplined, which accelerates that integration that's happening. As the populations increase in our urban centers, there's a lot more demand on our transportation infrastructure, and we have a number of major projects happening all over Canada, light rail systems, subway systems, devoted bus lines. So this is an area that is very growing, especially in the Toronto market, and there's a lot of pressure to do that as efficiently as possible, which is an extremely difficult type of work. And then we have an enormous amount of safety and technology systems that are emerging to help keep our workers safe on job site, whether it be noise, vibration, dust, sensors on workers and materials. So this area of safety and technology is really growing. Prefabrication and modularization is sort of leading towards our industry competing differently. Normally architects and engineers compete around the service that they provide. A contractor competes on their ability to build a unique project, whereas our industry is slowly moving towards productization, where a consortium will compete on their ability to deliver a product that is manufactured off-site and is very consistent and repetitive. So we're seeing that trend more and more in our industry, and I think that's going to start to be the norm for residential projects that have a high level of repetition. And that kind of leads to the supply chain issue. I mean, we already have a lot of curtain wall and other type systems that are already naturally prefabricated, being fabricated all over planet Earth and delivered to Canada. I think that as our industry becomes more and more sophisticated, where we're coordinating to a very high level of degree in a 3D environment, we're going to be managing a broader global supply chain. And then the augmented workforce, automation, AI. Obviously, as our work moves off-site, things become more mechanized, and this is the same as being said for the design activities, where design is now a function of managing all the data required to run an algorithm to produce different design scenarios. So this is a trend that is accelerating, and certainly artificial intelligence will start to augment, if not replace, some of the repetitive activities that we have in our design processes and on our construction planning processes. And that really brings us to the impact of digitization and data. As we introduce all these mobile tools and these sophisticated systems that help us manage our work, we're all starting to compete around our ability to manage our data and utilize that for increasing our productivity. So I think I still have a little bit more time left here, but I wanted to highlight a handful of projects in Canada that kind of represent maybe a little bit above average use of technology. And these projects are, recent, but maybe 5 or 6 years old as well. This is the Rocky Ridge Recreational Center in Alberta. This was about $500 million project constructed by PCL Construction and designed by GEC Architecture. Complex form architecture that utilized 60 meters span glulam, complex form cladding, and PCL and GEC and all the suppliers, the subtrades all produced 3D models which were integrated on a regular basis in a 3D environment. Those models were utilized on the job site in mobile applications and in a number of different ways. So this is a pretty complex project, but I would say that the means and methods and the best practices that were utilized here are represented on a lot of our projects now, where 3D modeling has become more and more prevalent. Second example is a healthcare project, the Willow Square Continuing Healthcare Center, also in Alberta. This is built by Parmelo Construction in northern Alberta, kind of a remote location. 3D modeling was utilized to do all the coordination in advance. There was a lot of offsite prefabrication because of the remote location of the job site. LiDAR was used, 3D scanning was used to do analysis on the status of construction and to manage tolerances. A number of different 3D technologies were utilized. We're connecting all the models to virtual reality and augmented reality so that this design build project could coordinate with all the stakeholders and user groups that need to review the design. And we're seeing a lot of mobile systems that capture data on the job site and then link that data up by location in systems and a common data environment be used. And there's also a requirement for a digital turnover on this project where an as-built building information modeling was populated with all the data and building manuals that were required for the long-term facilities management of the project. The next example is a potash mine by Hatch Ventral. It's a major project near Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. In this particular case, Hatch had to build a software platform to manage the complexity of this particular job, which will live with the life cycle of the facility. So they ended up building out their own software platform in-house that integrates all the 3D models that were created by the engineers. It helped them to manage all their construction processes from health and safety to supply chain management, as well as commissioning, schedule, and schedule management. So extremely sophisticated that an engineering company would set about to build their own software platform to manage a particular project, but pretty excellent example of the type of innovation that's happening here in Canada. The next example is from the Carleton Immersive Media Studio. And this is the Library of Parliament, which is a heritage project that's connected to the Parliament Hill complex in Ottawa, Canada, which is our capital. This aspect of the project was the original heritage library that's connected on the back of Parliament, and it's a very complex form stone and masonry project. And right now, there's a major rejuvenation project underway there where this building is being taken apart brick by brick and then reassembled with more sophisticated life safety systems and structural systems. And there's obviously a need to understand the as-built conditions. So they actually built an extremely detailed and complex as-built model of every nut and bolt of this facility, which with pretty amazing accuracy and results. This is the Bergeron Center of Engineering Excellence, which is a complex form project located in Toronto, Ontario. The cladding system was developed in a parametric modeling system. Generative design was utilized. Offsite prefabrication was utilized. 3D file to CNC fabrication by the fabricators, and then a high level of 3D coordination across all of the individuals that were involved with coordinating this project. So pretty interesting example with a really amazing result. And then this is a commercial example. So this is a $1 billion plus mixed use project in Edmonton, Alberta, built by PCL Construction, designed by Dialogue and Stantec. And this is an example of a major project that includes commercial real estate, office buildings, residential. It has a sports and entertainment aspect to it. It has retail, and this is like a full city block. So we're seeing more and more projects like this, especially in the Toronto area. where projects are getting over that sort of $1 to $2 billion mark, and we're building whole complexes, so almost like city building now, and obviously utilizing an enormous amount of technology to collaborate across an enormous team and supply chain from all over North America. So I'm just going to try to summarize at a very high level, what's been happening in Canada over the past 30 years. I would say in the 1990s, we had the beginning of what I would call like the digital augmentation, where our paper processes were starting to be. We were introducing technology to augment the paper process that we had in place. We had digital CAD, so we could automate our drawing, our paper production. Fax machines, so we could send paper around digitally. On-site printing, so we could take a file and print it out on the job site. And cell phones and whatnot. So this was kind of the beginning of computers influencing the way that we work. And I would say in the 2000s, really, computing became more and more prevalent. Every worker had a BlackBerry. Every worker had a laptop. Design build projects and more collaborative projects were allowing the design team and the contractors to collaborate earlier. Parametric 3D modeling, CNC fabrication, email, all these things started to become commonplace. And estimating and scheduling moved to a computer environment. And then in the 2010s, I think this really, over the past 10 years, this has really become commonplace, where all the construction and design activities are now hosted in a cloud environment. Every worker has a cell phone where they can access every single piece of data related to their particular project, and they can track their progress anywhere on the job site. We're seeing very sophisticated use of LiDAR and automated data collection. Building information modeling has become a standard and a requirement on our projects. And we're seeing the requirement for not only delivering the physical building, but all the data related to the building in a digital twin format that connects into the Internet of Things and all these sensors and smart intelligence systems that are part of the facility to connect into the model. So we're seeing this start to become commonplace. And we're also seeing new tools emerge for basically every category and every kind of problem that you can imagine. So now companies are really starting to compete on their ability to assemble the best technology stack to get their company working as smoothly as possible, utilizing and harnessing all the best possible technology. And I think over the next 10 years, we're going to see software really start to control the market a lot more. I mean, the past 10 years has been consolidation and these giant projects emerging and general contractors controlling the market. I think the next 10 years is software companies are really the big players, where general contractors have to decide what type of system they're going to utilize. I think we're going to see a bit of a retraction in the P3 model, where projects reduce in size because the projects have just gotten too large for our busy market to absorb. So I think they need to trickle out a little bit at the pace that the market can properly deliver them. And I think we're going to see end-to-end digitization. So every single transaction, every single aspect of projects are going to be digitized, and we're going to have to utilize all this technology and automate it in order to stay competitive and deliver the best results for our clients. So this is going to create an environment where predictive analytics and automation becomes more and more prevalent across all activities. We're going to see a lot more mechanization on job sites, and I think all this is going to lead to artificial intelligence almost, and giving day-to-day instructions on how we assemble the projects based on real-time data that's being collected. Anyways, that's my predictions for the future. I really appreciate your time. And feel free to reach out to me directly. I'm easy to find. I'm on LinkedIn. You can connect with me via the CanBIM site. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.